Welcome to the Darkstream. Voxday, voxday.blogspot.com. I realize it's later than my usual Darkstream, but I'm working on finishing a book. And actually, I usually go to bed a little later than this anyhow. When Space Bunny jokes that I'm a vampire, she's not necessarily kidding. At least in terms of the staying up late. So, I do sleep. I just don't sleep that much. Anyhow, so what's going on, it's getting a little crazy with Gab. The title is accurate. Andrew Torba recently, about an hour ago, threatened to release all the emails that have gone between us, and also all of our telephone calls, which apparently, unbeknownst to me, he claims to have recorded. Now, this, of course, is extraordinarily unprofessional behavior. And I think it demonstrates that, Andrew Torba is not capable of running, he's just not mature enough to run a tech company. Why is he doing this? Because he's upset. He's emotionally out of control. Now, what's going on? I mean, just so you know, let me give you some context. There was it depends on the state. Where he is probably legal. So that's not the point. The point is millennials. That may have something to do with it. Anyhow, so I was defending Gab days ago. I was defending Gab. I mean, one of the emails that you will see, because, I should also mention, I tend to suspect, actually, that he's posturing. The reason I suspect he's posturing is because I said, go ahead and do it. I said, you threatened to release all these. I said, make sure that you release all 81 emails dated from September 22nd, 2016 to September 7th, 2017. You made the threat. You go ahead and do it. Now, the context for this is that Gab has refused to remove some defamation of myself and my wife that have been posted on Gab by some of the sort of Nazi wannabe swastika panties types. And so I'm not going to repeat the defamation, but it is extremely nasty, and it's what they call defamation per se. I'm not really I wouldn't say that I'm going to war to Gab now. I am simply continuing, as they go. I mean, first of all, understand, this is not the first time I've been through something like this with someone. Back in the late 1990s, all GT Interactive had to do was send my company a letter. That's it. Okay? All they had to do was send me a letter. And unfortunately, they wouldn't do that. So we had to end up filing a lawsuit. Now, the thing is that our case was open and shut. There was no way that we weren't going to win it. But they wouldn't do it. They just wouldn't do it. And so finally what we did was, we went and continued it, and they tried everything in the book. They had all these, very expensive New York lawyers, et cetera, et cetera. We just had two very smart ones that we happen to know. And so what we ended up doing, at the end of the day, they ended up writing us a check for $250,000. And so I understand that people do put themselves in these situations, whether they do it out of pride, whether they do it out of financial pressure. There's many different reasons, and it's a fool's game to try to figure out why people are doing things. We can suspect, we can theorize, but, you know, to quote Ludwig von Mises, only the acting man can assign motivation to his actions. So, anyhow, so, you know, if you want to know why Torba is doing this, you'd have to ask him. And so, anyhow, you know, now there's no reason, none of this needed to affect Gab in any way. I made the same type of request that I exceed, or that I accept many, many times. You know, there are many times when people email me and say, hey, you know, this comment about me is unfair. This comment is not right. And so, and, you know, I just say, okay, I delete it. You know, there's no, it's not that big a deal. Right? And so, anyhow, I erroneously assumed that Andrew would have a similar perspective. You know, now, I mean, the somewhat strange thing about his position is that apparently I should not have asked him to deal with it. I should not have warned the person that I was going to do something about it. Apparently he thinks, you know, if we follow his logic, then I should have gone straight to the legal recourse and gotten a subpoena, which of course is exactly what we're doing right now. The Legal Legion of Evil is 12 lawyers and two paralegals. They're in, I think they're licensed to practice in 14 or 15 different states and the District of Columbia. And so, you know, we're just doing what, here's the funny thing. We are just doing exactly what Andrew Torba told us to do. He said they will only respond to a court order. Fine. If that's what we have to do, then that's what we have to do. So, maybe he did think the subpoena was a bluff. I don't know. But the thing is that he hasn't known me that long. He's only known me about a year. People who know me understand that I don't bluff. You know, I may not always carry through on what I plan to do because sometimes I change my plans. But, so anyhow, what happened and what inspired the latest lunacy, the latest lunacy is that Utsav, who, or you, as he's known, had been concerned about what was going on. I didn't realize Andrew was upset, but Utsav did. And so he sent me several emails saying, hey, can we talk? We need to talk. Please give me a call, whatever. Fine, no big deal. Actually, maybe he only sent me two. No, Andrew sent me one email saying we need to talk. And then Utsav sent me one saying, you know, here's where you can get me. So I called him a couple times. It was too early. I called him again. He picked up and said, hey, can we talk in half an hour? I said, fine. I called him a third time, or fourth time, whatever it was. And then we talked for about 20 minutes. It was a good conversation. I actually felt that he saw things my way. He told me that he saw things my way and said that everything that I was suggesting was very reasonable and so forth. Then I was very surprised when Andrew did that Gab TV post where he was clearly upset and saying, you know, bring it on and all this kind of stuff. I didn't actually listen to the whole thing, but you know, it was pretty obvious that he was not happy. So I realized, oh, that's why Utsav was like being very concerned about whether. But then, for whatever reason tonight, and I don't know why, Utsav started posturing. And he started saying about how, because when I tried to call him, you know, I would expect that their lawyer told them that they needed to stop talking to me, which is fine, normal, par for the course. But they didn't tell me that. I'd sent an email to Andrew apologizing to him for if this had caused him any trouble or aggravation. Tried to explain to him that, that was not my goal. Apologized for the way that I handled it, since he obviously didn't appreciate it. But he didn't respond at all. And then Utsov made this post about, Vox, please stop calling. If that's you, please stop calling me. So it's like, what the hell? I just tried to call you twice. It just didn't, there's plenty of times you call people, it doesn't pick up, whatever, right? So anyhow, then Utsov makes some dark comments about how, it's more than just the calls, it's all the emails and all this sort of thing. And he made it sound like, I was like calling them and calling them and calling them. So, yeah, he could just sent me an email saying, hey, we can't talk to you anymore because we're in a legal situation. Okay, fine. So anyhow, he posted something, and so what I did is he said something about, or somebody else said, you should post the call records too. And so I just posted the time and length and whether the call got through or not. Took it straight out of Skype. Boom. I took the number off. I'm not trying to cause any problems here. So anyhow, so then Andrew jumps in and says he's going to make all those phone calls were recorded. Okay. So apparently both Andrew and Utsov are recording their telephone calls with everyone. This is not Andrew Anglin, this is Andrew Torba of Gab. So then Andrew said, Andrew Torba, not Andrew Anglin. Andrew Torba said, let me see, actually I can see if I can read it here. Okay. Vox, I'll publish every email you ever sent us and phone calls which have been recorded. Please try me. You can destroy your personal brand all you want, but you're not going to drag Gab down with it. Mark my words. So, anyhow, so I just said, go ahead. Go ahead and post all 81 emails that I sent you in their entirety. Leave out any third-party names and emails. And just, you've called me out. Go ahead and do it. So we'll see if he does it. Maybe he'll post all the emails. Maybe he'll post all the telephone calls. I mean, honestly, over half the emails are, me sending him emails of people that want to join Gab. I look scared. I'm not scared at all. I know what all the emails say. You don't think that I reviewed them before saying, hey, go ahead and do that. So anyhow, but the important thing is, it's pretty clear that that Andrew Torba is just not ready for prime time, and it's too bad, but it's this is he's a young guy, and so I'm not dragging Gab down. Andrew is. And so, so it would be good, I'm sorry that it's gone this way. I just want, all right, I gotta get rid of this guy. He's being rather silly. Anyhow, I don't think that this necessarily, you have to understand, I'm not doing anything that Andrew Torba didn't tell me that he wants me to do. Please understand that. All I wanted was the defamation removed. That's it. He could have done it himself. He could have told the users to do it. He said, don't do that. I'm not starting any shit. The defamation was there. It has to come down. It's going to come down. You know, that's what's so ridiculous about all this. All of this stuff that Andrew and now Utsav are doing are totally, it's totally unnecessary. And it's not on, yes, it's really defamation. You don't know what you're talking about. So anyhow, you know, we're doing what we were told. We're putting together the legal action. They'll get the subpoena. I expect that they will probably comply with it. Although, considering his current behavior, who knows? I don't know whether he'll publish the emails or not. I don't care whether he does or not. Frankly, he's already done as much damage to himself as he can anyhow by threatening to do that. And so, you know, it's too bad. But, you know, that is, that's where we are. So, anyhow, I just figured that I should let you guys know what's going on. Obviously, this is not going to end as quickly as I would have liked. And so, yeah, I mean, I appreciate those who are, you know, trying to offer some support and whatnot. But honestly, it's not necessary. You know, I suspect we might want to recruit someone else to write a different forward, but we'll see. I mean, honestly, you know, is the relationship repairable? Sure, this is, you know, relatively minor stuff. You know, I'm not angry at all at Andrew. I'm disappointed in him, but you know, he's a young guy. He's under a lot of pressure, and you know, we all do things when we're young and stupid that we later regret. And so, you know, I think this can be fixed. I hope it can be fixed. You know, I don't want Gab to suffer because of this. But, you know, regardless, I've made it clear this is going to continue until the defamation is completely erased from there. You know, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what's, you know, whether it's easy or whether it's difficult, whether it happens tomorrow or whether it happens 3 years from now is really irrelevant. I spent 3 years, 3.5 years on that GT Interactive case. You know, it's not a problem. It's not even a distraction, to be honest. So, so anyhow, that's what's going on. Also, one thing that I need to mention that frankly I think is more important than any of this is that if you're not aware, science fiction great and Castalia House author Jerry Pournelle died this morning. He had just gotten back, I think, from Dragon Con. He had just sent me an email with his little summary talking about it. He's a great writer, a really good man, a really generous man. He will be massively, massively missed. He's one of my intellectual heroes, and you know, if you get a chance, read his work. You know, and you have to understand, I mean, when I said earlier, it's not really a big deal, the whole like stuff with Gab and stuff, and that I'm not upset about. I'm legitimately not upset about what's happening with Gab. It's not that big a deal. Jerry Pournelle's passing, to me, that is something that affects me. That is something that, you know, I'm genuinely sad about. So, anyhow, Mike, just since Cernovich popped up, Mike, I'll just summarize. Basically, Andrew Torba of Gab has kind of gone off the deep end, as has his co-founder. They're threatening to release all of our 81 emails, and apparently they recorded all of our telephone conversations, and they're threatening to release those. And I went ahead and told them to go ahead and do that. I just suggested that they might want to redact all the third-party email addresses and names. So, anyhow, that's what's going on, and that's the Cernovich summary. So, have a good evening, and we'll have a good weekend, and we'll see you soon.